would I would, and I've told you before, and I know it shocks you every time I say it. Every pain patient I know today would give up their meds if there was something that could help them.
Can you say that one more time for the camera?
All the doctors and medical folks listening, every pain patient today, every chronic pain patient would give up their pain meds if there was another alternative that they could still have quality of life.
Right.
We hate taking pain meds. We hate taking pain meds.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Eclipse Unscripted. I am here again with Keith, who is our fearless leader from a group called the Invisibles, and actually Invisible No More. Thank you. That's really why we're here, to be invisible no more, to shed some light on the chronic pain epidemic, really, that this country has, and see how patients and doctors can work better for the common goal of living more with less pain.
That's it. We can't be invisible no more. We have to speak out, and we have to work together with the doctors to get goals to get better care. You're good to get better. So
absolutely. If you've been watching the videos in this series, you've probably learned that we've covered a lot of ground, and some of that has been some controversial ground with regard to the treatment that's provided, some of the therapies that are provided, and just learning a little bit more about both sides of the fence. Again, some of the good things that can happen and bad things, and maybe learning why your doctor's doing the things that they're doing. So today's topic is no different than the rest. It may raise some eyebrows, but we're going to tackle the topic of forced tapering. Forced opioid tapering.
Yes.
And so I didn't realize maybe this was a big of a problem as it turns out to be, mainly because I don't do that unless I have a very specific reason. But Keith, why don't you bring me up to speed on what's going on here?
It's happening. It's happened quite often in the past, and it's happening even more now. There are people who are doing what they're supposed to do, going through the hoops. They are passing their UAs, they are passing pill counts, they are doing whatever therapies that the doctor's asking them to do. And then they come in for the next appointment, and suddenly, clinic policy's changed and you're above the number where you can be. So you're going to have to put you here. And patients are like, what have I done wrong? How am I showing you that I'm addicted to something? I haven't called about early getting scripts early. I haven't been begging for increases. I've been maintaining.
You've been compliant with the plan of care.
I'm living the care plan, and now you're doing this? Well, clinic policy is. And it's really impacting a lot of people. I don't understand why a doctor would force taper somebody. If you're worst case, you have to lower the dosage, then you over time lower the dosage.
Right.
Instead of going from, I'm just going to throw numbers, 150 MME down to 85. Maybe we need to take it to like 110 for a month or so, and then slowly move down. Or that's even fast to me, but that's better than going from, to me, 150 down to 85.
Right.
That's going to be a lot less shock to the system. That gives me as a patient time to start getting acclimated to, because my life's going to dramatically change. Right? I'm not going to be able to do as much.
Absolutely.
And so how to plan things and events and stuff differently.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, obviously, if I can taper you off of your medications as a pain doctor, maybe we offer some alternative treatment. It works real well for you. We're able to get you down and maybe off this medicine. I think that should be a common goal. If more than anything, it keeps you happy, functional, and independent, let's say, of the medical system, right? Which I think we should all be striving for.
But shouldn't that be a doctor-patient talk?
You mean don't just broadly apply
Don't
a
just
protocol?
yes, protocol.
Absolutely.
Right. I would, and I've told you before, and I know it shocks you every time I say it. Every pain patient I know today would give up their meds if there was something that could help them.
Can you say that one more time for the camera?
All the doctors and medical folks listening, every pain patient today, every chronic pain patient would give up their pain meds if there was another alternative that they could still have quality of life.
Right.
We hate taking pain meds. We hate taking pain meds. The whole idea behind it, we hate it. All right, I'll look back at you again. But it's true.
And what is hard about taking all these pills? What is it that you hate about it?
It's a barrier, right? It's for me to, and we can get into this on on another one, but real brief. To me, having to take meds is a barrier to me getting on the floor playing with my dogs, because I can't. If I don't take those meds, I can't get on the floor and roll around with my dogs.
So you see the pill as the key to unlocking your ability to exist.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah.
When you would just would rather just
be able to get on the floor and do it.
Yes,
or,
right.
For me to go when I walk into HEB to shop for 2 people, that's an hour and a half for less than $100 worth of groceries. Because basically I get to HEB, I'll sit in the car for about a half hour just because my back is killing me and I don't want to move. Then once I get inside and I'm pushing the cart around, even following, the little app of going all the directions, right, where it plans it out, that's a ton of walking.
Yeah.
So I find myself stopping and trying to find some music on Spotify for a little bit and then go on to the next section. But if I don't have that med, I can't do that. If I didn't have the med, I would be spending more money and having to pay to have groceries delivered and stuff like that. So I hate having, I know I'm blessed. I know I'm lucky that I have the ability to get the med, but man.
So yeah, you're basically just stuck from pill to pill, keeping track of your pills, knowing that, you have to be rigid in how you maintain your lifestyle. The spontaneity is no longer a thing, right?
Yeah.
And that's very limiting.
You said spontaneity. Plus, if you're a guy, if you don't know, dudes, opioids kill the sex drive.
Right.
So that's another reason right there.
Right.
Life's just easier without it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the same thing would be valid for diabetics and insulin or people on blood pressure meds. We don't want to take pills, right? But we do what we do so we can have that quality.
So I will counter from my perspective. It seems like, at least in the circles I run in, that most American patients are good with taking pills. It's almost like that's all they want is a pill, whether it's for blood pressure or for something else. The idea of exercise and diet is like, no, that's too hard.
We can't have cancer drugs paid for by Medicaid, but we can have the injection so you can lose weight paid for by Medicaid. I get it, right?
Yeah, right.
What the heck?
Make it make sense.
Yeah, make it make sense. But in the idea of forced tapers, though, I don't understand I don't understand the logic. I don't understand if a clinic's policy changes dramatically like that, how whoever made that decision and the people that are put in charge of implementing the decision know that this patient's stable and they have a good quality of life and they've maintained and they've done nothing wrong. They go from 150 to 85. So when that patient walks out the door, that person knows that patient's going to be suffering.
Mm-hmm.
Take the term doctor out in human. A human knows this policy is going to cause somebody to suffer. And I know I'm an empath, right? I fully admit it. It's kind of an embarrassing thing for an old man to say, but I don't understand the logic or the ability.
Let me side rail here and I give you my response to that. I think a lot of good physicians start off being very empathetic. And I think that very often they will find themselves driving home, spacing out, even crying over some of the experiences that they've witnessed to or played a part of, trying to help their patients. They see that they're suffering, and that's a lot of emotional weight. And they either burn out and do something else, or they learn how to kind of shut it off. And the art of being a physician is knowing just how much to keep a hold of. But it can be easy to say, you know what? I really don't care about all you fools. Like, I know you're going to hurt. That's your problem, not mine. I got to protect what's mine and move forward. I think it can be easy to do that, especially in pain medicine, where you do see a lot of suffering. And it's not an easy specialty for that reason. Same thing with emergency medicine docs. I mean, not only the stress of night shift and running around with, your hair on fire, but you see a lot of tragedy. And like you said, human to human, if you don't know how to separate yourself from that on some level, good luck.
Yeah. Well, even in what I do, with all the phone calls and messages and all the talks and talking to people.
Right.
There are days, because what I do is based on social media, right? There are days I don't open any social media.
Mm-hmm.
I just can't.
Yeah.
Because I hit the limit in sorrow and in pain because
Sure.
so many things are going. So that makes sense.
Right. Doesn't make it right.
No.
Especially when you broadly apply medical protocols and there's individuals that are affected by it. We have a video actually.
Yeah.
Mr. Producer, can we get that up on? And I want to hear Caitlin.
Erica.
Erica.
Yeah, was forced taper.
They're both in my brain, both those names. We have Erica here. I want to hear what Erica has to say about her experience with forced tapers.
Hi, my name is Erica. I live by Morgantown in West Virginia. That's at the top. I have multiple sclerosis and fibromyalgia. So my question is for someone like me, with the limited prescribing, especially even at places that claim to be interventional pain, there's no part of my body you can put an injection into to fix the MS or to fix the fibro. And this has been going on since 2002, so I'm in 23 years. I actually just came from my neurology appointment, told them that I was on a forced taper by the doctor I've been seeing since 2008 at a fibro clinic in Charlotte, North Carolina. And they were just like, sorry, there's nothing we can help you with that. So when I'm done with this taper, I'm just lost because there's, I have so much fatigue and other things other than what I do at home. I don't have the ability to get out of the house to go do PT. I have to be very careful with how much energy I expend to not cause myself to crash. So I'm at a loss. I don't know what I'm supposed to do when we're done tapering my meds. Thanks.
Yeah, I forgot they were tapering her all the way off.
So they're tapering her all the way off?
All the way off. Yeah. And she hadn't failed UAs. She hadn't failed pill counts. She hadn't failed any of the things that are in her contract.
Right. So I guess, Erica, I don't know exactly what's going on there. This is all I know about you from this video. It doesn't make sense to me that a clinic would, assuming, let's say you've been on this medicine for a long time, even more than 10 years. If you've been stable on it, it's clearly helping you maintain your function. And I agree, you have medical conditions that require systemic treatments. Again, that's not necessarily just isolated to opioid prescribing, but nonetheless, you have a systemic problem. It requires systemic treatment. You can't inject away fibromyalgia, that type of thing. So if you've been maintained on opioids, let's say safely, compliantly, and it's improving your function and quality of life for more than a decade, the odds of you successfully tapering off that medicine is less than 5%. Keyword successfully. So that doesn't quite make a whole lot of sense to me. I have seen, just even in our community, certain pharmacies implementing their own policies with regard to what they will fill. Now they will, and this may be true, maybe not, but they will say, well, there's an opioid shortage here or coming, and in order to make sure we cover as many patients as possible, this is the reasoning that I'm getting, we're only going to fill, let's say, 120 per month. So I've had patients that were maintained on 150, and now the pharmacy's telling me, well, we can only give them 120. Now I'm stuck talking to the pharmacist saying, okay, but they've been doing really well on 150. I don't understand why, the situation is. And they'll say, well, again, it's a supply and demand issue. We're trying to ration, the medication. That may be true, but unfortunately it negatively impacts my patients. So now we're stuck finding pharmacies that can fill their medication, and
which causes even more problems.
It causes even more problems.
Yeah.
A lot of pharmacies won't fill the opioid medication unless you fill all your medicine there, which makes sense. Nobody wants to be just an opioid, mill.
Yeah.
But then it's just this big cycle of
Yeah, well, and
Disaster.
in my hometown, Walmart as well as HEB won't take any chronic pain patients.
Right.
They only will dispense for acute pain after surgeries or a broken arm or
Right.
tooth removal or something like that. If you're a chronic pain patient, they won't, even if you bring all your scripts there. That's the policy. And I run into I went back and I checked. Every other month at my pharmacy, I get partial fills. I'll go pick up my meds, and by the time I get home, I'll check the bottle, and it's got a yellow highlighter mark on it. You know, out of the 150 or whatever it is, we gave you 72. We owe you.
Right.
You know.
Right.
That's because of the shortage, and you know, it's gonna be even, that shortage is gonna get even worse in 2026.
Yeah.
But Erica's case was complete force taper. There's highlights the fact that there are many that aren't complete. They're just drastically cut back as a change in policy.
Right.
Somebody somewhere, it's happening more by company clinics. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Where it's a banner with like 6 or 7.
It's a corporate decision.
Yeah.
Right.
Then it is happening at independent clinics, but it is happening at independent clinics as well. You know, I don't understand again, it goes back to the human side of life. What's the golden rule? Be nice to each other.
Keith, you're still stuck in this mindset that you think people care about you.
Well, I mean, shouldn't we?
I care about you, but you know what I'm saying? Like, that's
but I mean, and that's where we're at.
So we've been down this road before, and I think it's coming again, but it's doing it a little bit more sinisterly. So like back in 2016, maybe you remember those days, but like the CDC came in and published their new opioid prescribing protocols. Right. 90 oral morphine equivalents was the new standard. It said avoid doses over 90 oral morphine equivalents. And that wasn't that, and to be fair, that 90 mark wasn't just haphazardly chosen. It was based on a lot of research that showed the risk of complications, including overdose, went significantly higher above those doses. And a lot of the studies were done in the VA and other places. So there was a reason to it, but the wording in the recommendation was guideline. Thank you. Actually, a better way of putting it. It was misinterpreted to be a mandatory or else face legislative, correction. And so now we're talking hospitals, clinics, individual doctors, pharmacies, state legislators, state medical boards. Now we're like, okay, this is the thing to do. So did we have a problem beforehand? Perhaps. The opioid prescribing was really quite high going from 2010, 2011, and overdoses were also accompanying that. It almost became a marketing tool to like say, hey, like none of our patients are on opioids. We're fighting the battle against opioids. Okay, that's all fine and dandy, but what ended up happening was the overdose rate started going up because we have patients who maybe were maintained on this stuff for a long time safely, and now we have a broadly applied medical protocol that doesn't take into account individualized plans of care, and so guess where they go? They got to go somewhere to get it.
Wherever they can. And that's the nature of being dependent on opioids, much like being dependent on insulin or anything else. Like for some reason, opioids has that stigma, but I mean, more people are dying of heart disease and stroke and all this stuff. So it's like, it's all the same stuff. But it looks really bad when you have 25-year-olds and 30-year-olds overdose in the street. Like it is really bad, right? So it became this national movement. And but because everybody now didn't have safe access to it, that they went to the streets, overdose spiked 7 times what it normally was. And even despite less prescribing, like 40% less prescribing over that decade, and yet the overdoses went up, and 80% of it was illicit fentanyl, which is from the street. Huh. So that's a terrible consequence of broadly applied. And the thing is, it wasn't just the younger chronic pain patients, 20s, 25.
No.
These were 60, 70-year-old, you know, because a lot of times they didn't know they don't know what to do on the streets. So they would ask their grandkids, hey,
Right.
and the grandkids are like, holy crap, I can't believe this doctor did. I'm going to go find what I can get.
Right.
And they get what they think is stamped correctly or in color, the right color and everything. And it turns out it's got something else in it. And
That's if you're lucky enough to find something.
yeah,
A lot of people just couldn't live with the pain and suffering that they were forced into.
well, a friend of mine, Whitney, coins this, or this is how she puts it, that correct opioid management to patients.
Right.
And we were talking, and I'm like, that's really the best way to put it. And she's like, I hate putting it that way, but that's honestly what it is. Because if people can get their pain controlled, they're going to, other options will become available. And I hope that doesn't kill the algorithm for you by saying that, but that's really true.
Right.
Because it's documented, man.
Yeah, I think definitely people misunderstand because not everybody has chronic pain. They don't live with it.
Yeah.
And they don't understand. Mm-hmm. And I think that's part of the challenge too with family members, even with chronic pain patients in the family. Yeah. I hear all the time that, mom doesn't get me, my sister doesn't get me, just say toughen up. And, it's like even the people closest to you don't have the insight that of what you're going through.
No.
And
they confuse opioid addiction with opioid dependence.
Okay, let's talk about that. Opioid addiction and opioid dependence.
Well, we'll get to that somewhere else too, but we'll talk about it now. There is a major difference between the addiction and dependence.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, by definition, by the way, but go ahead.
Because I'm not abusing what's prescribed to me. I didn't bring them today. I can bring them up here tomorrow if you want me to. You can count my pills. I am true to how my prescription is written every single month. I'm not selling them. I'm not diverting them in any single way. But if I don't have them, I'm not sitting in this chair today because it's an hour and a half drive for me to get here. Mm-hmm. It's not happening.
Thank you for being here, by the way.
Well, I mean, I want to be here. And then I'm not going to the grocery store. Yeah. I'm not playing with my dogs. I'm not doing anything. So to me coming here is a life event. It's quality of life. Me going to the grocery store is quality of life. But I can't do that if I don't have my pain somewhat under control. Our agreement, and I don't mind sharing it to the world, I don't ask you to get me to a 0. I ask you to get me close to a 5. Currently, I'm at 6, a little better, maybe closer to 7 some days. I'm okay with that. Mm-hmm. But I don't ask for a 0. I just want the ability to have quality of life. And that's what, even though I hate taking them, that's what it gives me. Addiction to me is when more of a trauma response, and I'm going to use it as an escape. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to take whatever I have as much as I can until it's all gone. Or there's a lot more examples and stuff like that. Sure. And I don't want to classify people who have OUD or have an addiction or have an alcoholism. I don't want to classify them as bad people because I love them.
No.
And I'm not trying to talk bad about anybody. I'm just talking about the differences and how
it's not a character problem.
So it's not.
It's not.
Yep.
It's a genetic problem. It's a physiologic problem. It's sometimes the result of your environment and how you grew up and how you learned how to cope with life, right? There's so many factors, but it's not like, oh, I'm choosing to hurt myself and everyone around me because screw you guys. No, that's not how it works. Not by any stretch.
So, and we can get that deeper some more, but I just wanted to put it out there. When our friends and our families, it's hard to convince them, I am dependent.
Right.
The fact that we had Thanksgiving, well, that happened because my doctor understands where I'm at and helps me and gets me this. Without that, we wouldn't have had Thanksgiving.
Right.
Yeah. So it's brutal. It's very, very difficult. But these forced tapers, whether it's on like Erica, where you're taken all the way down and you're not given a valid reason, or it's people who are cut in half or dramatically cut because of a sudden corporate policy change, or when you've done everything correctly, I don't see how a human can know they're causing harm to another person. So I don't see how a doctor could do that. And it just doesn't make sense.
Well, this is why I'm gonna circle back to how I said what I was saying earlier. When what happened in 2016, I think is happening again, just more sinisterly. because again, we have the states saying, really cracking down on how doctors are prescribing it. We have pharmacies putting into place, their own protocols with regard to how much they're going to fill, or even if they're going to treat you at all. And now the feds are basically saying, oh, we're cutting opioid prescription further. So it's almost like, well, we're not going to tell you not to do it, but we're just going to make it impossible for you to get it. So, that's the challenge there. So what makes that sinister, in addition, is because in 2022, the CDC actually corrected their 2016 recommendations or guidelines. And they said, yeah, it was not really meant to be a mandate. It was just a suggestion, a consideration, but we definitely don't recommend against rapid tapers. We definitely don't, want you to apply broad, medical policies across the board. Care should be individualized. And the CDC said that in 2022. And we're like, okay, great. Like, this is back when I was first opening my clinic. I was like, okay, it seems like I'm getting some validation, perhaps some understanding, some backing from the powers that be with regard to the patient load that we're asked to treat. But now it's becoming very hard now on almost like a person-to-person level with the pharmacies and all of the rest of that.
I think it's funny though that so many took the guideline as gospel.
Yeah.
In 2016. And when 2022 came out, it's like, I never saw that. We're still.
Thank you.
Because there's still, I have people message and call me today that say their meds are getting cut because they're over 90. And I'm like, well, why? And well, their doctor says that's the guidelines. Mm-hmm. They can't go over 90. I'm like, no, 2022, that changed. Mm-hmm. And they're like, I know, I'm not an idiot. I told them that. Then in 2022, they came out and said, hey, that wasn't really a rule. But they're not, but they're still using that today. It's like they totally skipped over it. And I'm not going to put all doctors in that one thing, but a lot of doctors.
No, I've seen it. I've seen it here. Just the other week, I had a patient who has literally been maintained on a fentanyl patch for 30 years. And imagine being on opioids for 30 years. Like, you're a compliant patient to last that long, right? Like, you've demonstrated compliancy. You're following all the rules, and you're proving to everyone that your life is better because of it. Is your life great? No, you're still in a lot of pain. This is as good as it gets, but it's better than nothing. Yeah. But this patient ended up in my clinic because he was over the 90 mark, and his physician, who was caring for him for a long time, nothing against this physician, but it's not just physicians, by the way, it's hospital systems and larger clinic corporations and these things. He was getting major feedback that if we don't taper you down, I can't keep seeing you. And of course, this patient is a 30+ year chronic pain patient who's educated and compliant and feeling extremely disenfranchised now.
Yeah.
Because he's tried tapers before and his quality of life falls through the floor. So he's in my office shedding tears over this, and rightfully so. So I think it's not just in certain parts of the country. There's something going on, and it's going to result in harm. 100% it's going to result in harm. The CDC said this in 2022. It's going to result in harm. You've been on opioids for more than 10 years, let alone 30. The chances of you successfully getting off that is less than 5%. You're going to get hurt. Now, can you get patients off? Yes. I have one patient in my practice of 800. Actually, we put a stimulator in her.
I remember the story. It's a great story.
Okay, I'm not trying to sell the stimulator, but it is possible if you can find a treatment that works, whether it's a surgery or an implant or an injection or whatever the case may be. And that's what we're all here trying to do. We're trying to get your independence back. Yeah. We don't want you on meds, but if that's all it takes to keep you healthy and living a long, productive life, then that's what it takes. But no, there's something that's going on, and it's unfortunate. It really is.
It is. There's a comment period that people want to go. I'm not sure when they're going to watch this, but they are taking comments on it right now. And I'd suggest, and you can comment as more than one person organization. So I'll leave that out there as well.
You're saying to help reduce
because they proposed it to cutting it to I could be wrong, don't quote me, a 6.7% cut in oxycodone manufacturing for 2026. And so they have a comment window, and it's closing very, very soon.
Yeah.
So if you would like to comment, go do it. You can Google opioid cut comment FDA.
Mr. Producer, we'll put a link in the bottom for those who want to advocate for themselves or a family member.
I have it on my phone. Then you can comment. And like I said, like I've commented as Keith Johnson, and I've commented as Invisible No More as well.
Yeah.
To give your 2 cents. Now here's the thing: is it going to do anything?
Right.
But at the same time, it's like voting. We can't complain if we don't at least take the time, take 10 minutes to leave a decently thought out 50 or 75 word, whatever the max is on it, comment on it.
Mm-hmm.
And that way, at least you have a right to pitch. You can say, I tried, right? Just like a vote. Well, I voted, my guy didn't win, but now I can like rightfully gripe,
right?
Because I did my part.
Right.
But if we don't make those comments, then we can't really have much of a thing to say when it does get cut. I mean, I will say, and I'll preach against it, but if we're not trying to protect ourselves, then that's on us too.
Yeah.
And again, I don't know if the comments will actually help, but at the same time, who knows?
Yeah, and it just highlights, I think, from my perspective, yes, opioids can be helpful. Yes, insulin can be helpful, but we don't always know when it's going to go away. And yes, it's good while it's here, sort of thing. But if we're not actively searching for alternatives, we're all shooting ourselves in the foot.
We have to have as many tools in our toolbox as we can. Personally, for me, that includes ketamine, right? And low dose ketamine. And I beg people to try other forms, other medicines, other ideas.
Yeah.
Velcro approach it if you want to. Throw it against the wall, and if it sticks and it helps, continue to do it.
Yeah.
Because at some point you're not going to be able to get a script filled, and what are you going to do?
Right.
Well, let's prepare for that now. In case that happens, let's try to find something that can find us some relief.
Right.
So if and when we get force tapered, or if and when we can't get them filled, we have something that may not be the same, but we have something in our toolbox that can help.
And the government doesn't move quick. It took 6 years to correct the 2016 guidelines.
Yeah.
And a lot of damage happened in that time.
And once it happens, it's coming back, because they've been cutting it every year, cutting production every year, so it's going to continue. So we have to be ready. So whether it's forced because of a corporate policy, or a doctor's getting ready to retire and he's sold his practice and that's the new guy's rule, or whatever. You've done everything right. You were the patient. You were the good patient. You played by the rules. However, rules outside of some doctors' hands are changing.
Yeah.
So how are you going to respond? You have to be ready for it.
So that's a great point. And I think there are some cases where a taper may be appropriate. Obviously, if
there are some cases a forced taper is appropriate.
I don't like the word forced, but if the patient is demonstrating non-compliance with care, that would be the one episode where it's like, okay, I'm going to give you a week or two and you're going to taper off this, but I'm not going to prescribe it to you anymore because you're basically a danger to yourself and the community and you're a liability for the clinic. I think that would be the only time. Otherwise, tapers, if that is part of the mutually decided plan of care, then it should be very, very slow. Very, very slow. Even in instances where you might think, let's say there's a suspicion for opioid-induced hyperalgesia, right? I know we talked about this one.
Oh yeah, I got schooled last time. Go watch the first podcast, y'all. The first 15 minutes, I went from a 6'1" tall dude down to about 3/4 of an inch sitting on that sofa. It was awesome. It was awesome.
Well, I mean, but that is a real thing too. And, but again, you have to have that discussion ahead of time. Like, hey, Keith, like, I think this is what's going on. Like, we've been increasing your dose. Your pain's getting worse. I don't think the medicines are helping. We need to start actually going the other direction. And if your pain starts getting better, that's a sign maybe you have this condition. But that can also be misused, and it is misused often as another opportunity to cut patients off, perhaps unfairly.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Lived experience on that.
But again, just more emphasis on the physician-patient communication and transparency.
That's it.
Yeah.
Transparency, the individualized patient care.
Right.
And with this restraint on the medical system today, that is very, very difficult to find.
Mm-hmm.
I think we can agree forced tapers generally are not a great idea. Okay?
Not for the compliant patient. I would not advocate it for the compliant patient.
All right,
in any situation, it should not be forced. And I think it has great probability of harm,
yep.
Especially when applied broadly as a protocol. It almost sounds like that clinic that Erica was mentioning is they're getting out of the opioid game, is what it sounds like.
Sounds to me like they did something wrong.
Yeah, maybe that too. Yeah.
But I don't want to get in legal trouble on your podcast. I'll do that on my own.
No,
so
I can only speculate. Yeah, no, I don't know.
But to make that dramatic of a cut on a patient, on patient or patients that have been stable,
I would not recommend that.
And because that's horrific. And yeah,
if we do taper our patients, I mean, we're talking like 10% every 3 months, maybe. Especially the longer you've been on it, the longer it's going to take to get off. That one patient I mentioned earlier who we got on actually is pretty high dose all the way down to 0 and she's feeling great. That took a year to get her off that stuff. So it can happen for all of you patients out there that want to get off this stuff and you're ready to try something alternative. It can definitely happen for you, especially if you have, a team around you that's willing to listen and meet you in the middle and hear what your goals are and work with you and all of that. So don't think it's not possible. But when it's applied indiscriminately, you're going to get yourself into trouble. So definitely have those conversations. Yeah,
exactly.
All right. Well, thank you, Keith.
Thank you, sir.